The blue mist swirling around us begins to form into little flying babies, cherubs with black eyes like beetles, and they rain down flaming arrows on enemies all around us. That was one of my players who played a cleric of the grave domain, and in that moment he was able to establish this kind of creepy way in which his character lives between the worlds of life and death, the angelic and the demonic. But it could have gone like this. You call forth spirits to protect you. They flit around you at a distance of 15 feet for the duration. If you are good or neutral, their spectral form appears angelic or fey, your choice. If you are evil, they appear fiendish. When you cast a spell, you make a disengage. So in both cases, the players were casting a spell called Spirit Guardians. But in the first instance, as my player was casting the spell, I asked him a very simple question and stumbled my way into what has proven to be the single most effective technique I've found to encourage role-playing in my games. I asked him, "What do we see?" My name is Robert Peake. I'm a forever DM, and in this video I want to explain to you where this question comes from, where you can use it, why it's useful both for dungeon masters and for players, and some pitfalls you need to look out for when using the question. So obviously this is a question that dungeon masters ask, so if you identify predominantly as a player, the best thing you can do is to, yes, watch this video for ideas and inspiration, but be sure also to share this with your dungeon master. It's going to make their lives a ton easier and your games more fun, basically overnight. So if you've been playing Dungeons & Dragons for a while, this question may sound quite familiar. It's very similar to the question that the celebrity dungeon master Matt Mercer asks when one of his players has reduced an opponent to 0 hit points. And he asks them, famously, "How do you want to do this?" This gives the player the opportunity to then narrate what those of us that grew up on video games like Mortal Kombat will recognize as a finishing move. So it's an easy entree to a familiar trope, and it also creates a huge amount of excitement among his characters because it's his way of saying, "You've just defeated this opponent." This also reminds players that they can knock an opponent out rather than kill them when they are in melee combat, which can be useful if you want to tie them up and interrogate them later. What do we see broadens the scope of this invitation out beyond this very specific moment in combat, and used effectively can be just as powerful, or even more so, in drawing out players into role-playing. It's great for spells because it creates a magical moment at the time the spell is cast and gives players an opportunity to add their own unique flair and spin, developing their character in this way. And of course, the mechanics can be handled after that. But the question, "What do we see?" applies to a very broad range of situations. Check this out. Alonzo, you are now a safe distance from the flames of the village, but you know that the townspeople have been overrun by the orcs. What do we see? His shoulders are slumped, and his sword just falls from his hand, and he just stares blankly ahead. I go up to him and put my hand on his shoulder. "Alonso, you're no use to them dead. We shall return soon and in greater numbers. My family is in that village, Caius. I can never forgive myself." Oh my goblins. Did you see what just happened there? I got one of my shyest players to actually start speaking in character, in dialogue. And all I did was focus the narrative on the character for a moment, hand it over in a safe way, and all that happened using just one question. So you can deploy this just about anywhere, and when done right, it can lead to some awesome risk-taking role-playing. Plus, it hands the story over for a moment to the players, so the DM can sit back and enjoy. Or furiously flip through your campaign notes, trying to prepare for what comes next. So why isn't everybody just doing this already? I don't know. For me, I just sort of fell into it after trying tons of different things to try and encourage role-playing in my games. And in doing that, I found that there are actually a few pitfalls that you need to watch out for and avoid when deploying this question. First of all, your players need to understand, and you may need to make it explicitly clear, that these moments are not about changing the mechanics of the game. It's just a quick cutscene over to the player to add a bit of flair and drama. You're not appointing them as the new DM. So this, for example, would be totally off limits. You see me suddenly find a +7 magic sword, the key to the prison cell door, and a love letter written to me by the Queen. Yeah, nice try. No buffing your character out, suddenly finding things, or altering major plot points. You also don't want to pass over whole parts of the narrative that don't have to do with specific characters, unless everyone's really up for that. For example, narrating a day of travel where there aren't going to be any combat encounters. It can be a lot of fun, but you just need to agree that potentially you're going to be altering some of the plot details by getting into that level of player-led narration. So that's it. Please go try it in your own games. And if you do, I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. I'll do my best to respond to all of them. Let me know, did it work? Did you run into other pitfalls? I'm very curious to hear. The next thing you're going to see is a subscribe button. I'm currently running a series for players on how to become your Dungeon Master's favorite player, and for Dungeon Masters on how to feel more confident in improvising and being spontaneous in your games. So if you enjoyed this video, if any of that sounds interesting, be sure to hit subscribe to be the first to be notified when that comes out. Meanwhile, go play and have fun. Oh my goblins? Is that a thing?